Hello, my fellow crafters. It's Erica here from Me to You Paper Crafts, and I'm coming to you today with a fun fold card. I learned this from a fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrator during one of our get-togethers online, virtually. It's an easel card, and I made this with our, I forget what it's called now, but it's got these beautiful sailboats, and it's kind of an ocean-themed stamp set. And she had made one out of the same stamp set, and I decided to do what she had done, but I added a bit of red color to mine. And so basically this is how it works. You lift up this center card and you put something here on dimensionals to hold that in place. So it's like a little easel. So whoever the recipient is gets the card and can display it wherever they like. This would be an excellent layout also for a calendar, perhaps, for somebody's desk. And the other nice thing about this, it's also a regular card, so you can open it up, and then of course you can put your greeting inside. So I like the fact that it's actually a card as well, but it doesn't. The card doesn't take away from the fact that it is an easel card. So very, very sweet. Okay, so lots of different things that you can do with this. This one actually had this piece of cardstock is embossed with this, I think it's called the Seabed embossing folder. Yeah, just a really, really cute card. So we're going to make the exact same layout, but we're going to use something completely different. So what we're using today is something called Brushed Blooms. It is in our mini catalog, and I overlooked this when I first, excuse me, when I first looked at this catalog. I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me. Maybe because, you know, there's not very many samples on the page. It didn't look, you know, overly exciting. But then I saw a video, and what I loved about it was the fact that the set of dies that comes with it has these roses, and you cut out 3 separate pieces for the roses. There's a large rose and a small rose, and then there's a leaf, and then you stack the layers, and it makes the most amazingly realistic roses. You can also do the same with the leaf. And I love stamp sets that have bits of pieces that can create some visual interest or background. So I love this brush stroke here. Here's another brush stroke. Here's some little dots, and here's some more background elements, so that you can kind of build up your own background if you wanted to. What's been really popular with this stamp set is the brush stroke, and people have been doing a lot of stamping it up in different colors to create this background, and then just maybe adding a sentiment on top, or somebody has put this rose on here. And the other thing I found fascinating was this die here, and I'm going to show you the dies. So this is what they look like. Here are the roses elements. Okay, so here's the large rose that you can cut out, and then here are the 2 layering pieces. Then here's the leaf with 1 layering piece, and then the small rose, here's the cutout for the rose, and then 2 layering pieces. So you have a choice. You can either just stamp, I'm going to show you some examples here. So you can simply stamp the rose out. So I've stamped the large rose out, and I just used my Misty Moonlight ink, because that's the card color we're using today. So here's the large rose, here's 2 smaller roses, and then you take the small frame or the larger frame here and you cut these out. So they're beautiful on their own, and just imagine the colors that you can do. You could even do a tone on tone. You could do, a popular thing to do is say, what am I trying to say? Like a blue on the blue cardstock. So I could take the Misty Moonlight cardstock and stamp it in Misty Moonlight to get a tone on tone effect. Which would be really cool. A good example too are pinks and reds and yellows for roses. So just stamp them on that color cardstock and then cut them out. Another thing I wanted to try so I could show you is embossing them. So here again, I just took the Misty Moonlight cardstock, I stamped them with my Versamark, and then I embossed them in white powder. And look how effective those are. And you could just simply cut those out. You could then step them up and cut these out like this, and then you could add these other elements on top of it. So for example, I could take this little element and I could then just layer this on top like that and create some interest. Now there are 2 layers, and you can decide whether or not to use both layers. So let me show you. This is the solid image here. Okay, that's the solid image. And then there's a thicker overlay and then a thinner overlay, and so they're meant to be stacked on top of one another, but as you build on them you may decide one is enough. When I was playing with these, I thought 1 was plenty. Okay, so here's some other examples that I did. Here's a couple of leaves that I did for our project. I've already glued these together. So here's the solid leaf, for example, and then here's the overlay. So you could pick 2 different colors of greens to do your leaves. And then here's an example. This I did all one color. So here's the base rose, and then here's an overlay, the thicker overlay and the thinner overlay, and then here it is all in blue. Okay, so you could choose to do just the one thick overlay or then add the lighter or thinner overlay on top. Then I tried mixing up the colors. I wasn't keen on this one. This one I did with the, this blue is the Seaside Spray. I did the solid layer, then I built it up with a thicker layer in the Misty Moonlight, and then the thinner layer again with the pale blue. And I don't know, it kind of looks cartoony to me. I didn't care for that look. This look I didn't mind. This is again the Seaside Spray is the solid image, and then I put the thicker and the thinner images in blue on top. So it adds some interest. I'm hoping you can see that in the camera. Pull my light over a bit more so you can see those on top of each other. But I don't know, I kind of just like one overlay. I think it's enough. And it's less fiddly, of course, if you just do the one overlay. I like this idea of doing the white embossing, and then you can add an overlay on top of that. Look how pretty that is. So, excuse me, lots of things that you can do with this. All right, now I wanted to show you what I did with this, because this was really fun, and this is the first thing that I did. This is one solid die. Excuse me for coughing. I've got my asthma again today. Oh, for heaven's sakes, let's get this off. It's stuck here. Here's my dies. This top piece is stuck to the back of the card. Oh, for heaven's sakes. There we go. Okay. Yeah, because I've got most of the dies off the card, so more of the adhesive is showing up. All right, so this is the solid die here, all right? So what you can do is you run this on a piece of, I don't know, what does this measure? This measures about 4 1/4. So I would cut a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/2 by 4 and cut this out, and all of these strips fall out, okay? And then you're left with an outlined background piece. So what I did was I created these cards here. So let's take this one as an example just to show you what I did. So I used a purple, this is our Gorgeous Grape cardstock base. So then I cut out a piece with the white, and then just took the white, all these white strips, and set those aside. And then I cut another full piece all out of yellow. Then I did one in pink, then I did one in purple, one in green, and one in blue. And I kept all of these strips, and I ended up making all of these cards. So I made this one here. Then I made one with the green background, and whatever the background card was, I put in the matching strip in the middle as the middle piece. See, here's purple and here's purple. Here is a Bermuda Bay background with the Bermuda Bay strip in the center. Here is the Melon Mambo strip in the middle, and some I made landscape and some I made portrait. So I had a lot of fun making these cards. So now I have a full set of cards here using that technique, and I thought it was a lot of work initially, but once I got them all cut out, then these fit in beautifully inside back inside, and then I used some gems and ribbon, and I did silver embossing on all of the labels. So I was quite pleased with the way those turned out. So that's some other project that you can do as well. Okay, so let's get started making this card. I'll show you what the stamp set looks like. This is the stamp set here. So it has some nice greetings as well. I love this for my forever friend. Happy birthday. And just because you deserve it. Let's paint the town as long as I'm home by 9. That would be a great inside greeting. Okay, so let's start making our card. So I've already got my pieces cut out now. Let's set this aside. And let's set aside, I'm not sure what I'm going to use on the card yet. So let's start. So I'm going to have a white card base. This is our basic white cardstock. It's a regular 8.5 by 5.5, scored in half at 4 1/4. And then I'm using the papers. These are gorgeous papers. This was a free paper pack because of celebration. This is still available now until the 28th of February. That's the last time that you can order and get free stuff. So this is called the Flower and Field Designer Series paper. This was free, okay? And it's just got some beautiful floral images that I just love. Lots of different. I've featured these in other videos to show you, but there's some really pretty papers in here, as you can see, with some nice textures on the back side of the papers as well. Look at those polka dots. Yeah, just some nice papers. So you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, so I've cut this 4 by 5 1/4. By the way, there will be an associated blog post with this with all of the measurements. Okay. All right, so we can go ahead and just put this down onto the cardstock. I'm just going to use my Tombow glue for this because it's quick. Spread that goopy bit around a bit so it doesn't ooze out. And I'm just going to layer this on top of my card. Now we have to do a little bit of scoring on the piece, so I'm going to pull out my scoreboard. All right, so there's our layer, like so. All right, so these are some other pieces. This piece, this 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, this piece is this piece here, the easel part, okay? And then I decided to do a brick background. I ran this through our brick and mortar embossing folder. This is my favorite folder. I will cry profusely if this retires because I use it all the time. I just love the brick pattern background. So I'm going to be putting that on there. Then I'm going to build my flowers on top. So I might as well go ahead and glue this on here. Okay, we can set that aside. All right, now this piece measures 3 by 4, and I have to score this. So I'm going to pull out my scoreboard here. All right, so this measures 3 by 4. So on the 4-inch side, the long side, I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch and at 2 inches. So I'm going to use the thinner side of my stylus here, and it's a small piece. I'll forego using my wax paper. So 1/2 inch and then at 2 inches. Okay, so this is going to create your easel piece. Okay, let's just set these aside here. So I'm just going to fold this and fold this. Okay, so what we need to do, and I have to look at my example, I've only made this card the one time. so you end up with this easel piece here. All right, so the larger piece here, this is going to be glued down towards the bottom of this. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. So I'm folding it pretty well in half, and I'm going to glue this down to the bottom of this card here. Okay, and then this will be lifted up and glued to the back of this piece here. Okay, let me just double check and make sure I've done that right for you. Yeah, see, the thinner bit is glued to the back of the card. So the thicker bit is glued to the bottom of that. Okay, I've got that right. All right. So you want a strong glue. So you can use your Tombow glue, or you could bring out your Stamp and Seal Plus, or you could pull out your tear and tape, whichever strong glue you prefer to use. We have 3 choices there. Okay. So I'm going to center this, and then I'm going to lift this up, and I'm just going to push it down to the bottom and center it like that. Okay, so there's our easel. And then I want to, basically you're going to put glue now on this narrow strip, and you're just going to lay it on the card. And it's pretty well centered on the card, you see? It's a little bit lower than the top. There's a bit more space at the top. So you're just going to glue it. But remember, you're only gluing, putting glue on this piece right here. So once you understand the mechanics of it, it's fairly simple to put together. So you're just going to lie that flat like that, see? Fold that over, lie it flat, and then you're going to put it on your card. Get that centered. Okay, and I'm just going to hold that down for a few seconds. And now the decision will be how to arrange my flowers. Okay, I decided to use, I love this greeting here for my forever friend. This I can give to my forever friend, and she can put it on her desk as a little reminder of me. Okay, so I might actually back this with another color behind here, just so it pops out a bit. So let me just go grab some. I'm going to grab my my green that I'm using. This green is shaded spruce. So I'm just going to grab a scrap here, and I'm going to punch another one of these. This is the Everyday Label punch. This is a nice big punch for some of your greetings. Pull that out. I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm sure you've seen this trick done by many demonstrators. I'm going to cut this in half, like so. And then I'm going to take my Tombow, put just a little bit on there like that, and then I'm going to glue this. I'm just going to leave a bit of a border at the end there. Okay, make sure you get it straight so that the green doesn't pop out from the top or the bottom. Okay, then I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So I'm going to just put a bit of glue, and again I'm going to put a little border on there. Okay, you can do this with all of your punched labels. Okay, and I had stamped this in the Misty Moonlight color. I love that blue color. Now I'm not sure I like the coloring that turned out on these leaves. And the reason I did it that way is if you look at my paper here, this paper that I did, you see these little leaves are in Mossy Meadow, and then they're brush stroked with a lighter color. And we have this color called Seaside, no, is it Seaside Spray? Let me pull it down. What's it called? Soft Sea Foam, which is a soft green color. And that's what I used on here. So I'm going to use it just because I've done it, but I'm not sure I care about the color ring of that. And I've already pre-glued these. I just wanted to show you how I glue this. I take a little bit of Tombow and I put it on my silicone mat. This is the silicone mat that we sell. I use it all the time. As a matter of fact, I have 2 or 3 of them kicking around because I'm always losing them. So I like to have more than one. I take a Q-tip. Now, I'm always telling you that when you cut out cardstock with your dies, there is a right and a wrong side. So make sure that you are looking at the right side up for your dies, okay? And I like to use tweezers. I'm comfortable with tweezers. So this is the right side up of this die, but I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to use my little Q-tip here. And I like to put the tweezers on before I start. And I'm just going to dab a little bit of glue on there, okay? And then I'm going to line this up. Now it lines up pretty well. Just, Tombow luckily gives you time. So I'm basically looking for the top of this leaf and then the bottom of the stem. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to hold that down for a few seconds. Okay. Now, when gluing the flowers, they were a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to give you a tip here that I saw another lady had pointed this out. There is if you look at this cutout die, there's like a big kind of a circle at the bottom and a circle at the top and bottom, 2 round pieces. And then to the left of that there's this chunk that sticks out. See the chunk there? It's kind of almost straight edge. So you want to line it up so that those 2 round bits, top and bottom, and then this squarish chunk is on the left-hand side. And then if you look at these die, this is the thicker layer. If you look at the thicker layer, all you want to focus on is, again, that square chunk. Can you see that square chunk on there? Okay, so you're lining that up. So once you have that on there, so again, this is the right side up. I'm going to turn it over, and again, oops, don't want glue on my label there. All I'm going to do now is put some glue on the back of this like that, okay? So to line it up now, you're going to be looking for a couple of things. There's this little tiny itty bitty little piece at the bottom. You see that little itty bitty piece? I'll put it on my nail color polish. You can see it. And then there's our square chunk up here. So I'm going to line up my square chunk. And then you may want to rotate the flower a little bit to get this little piece lined up on that round bit at the bottom. Okay, so I'm lining up that chunk and then I'm twisting. See, I'm twisting a little bit and I've got this little piece now lined up along the bottom. And then I can let go. That's the best way I can explain that to you. Okay, so there's that thick chunk. All right, this one I had completely glued together, the one that I didn't like. This one I also glued together. This is the pale blue with the 2 layers, thick and thin on top. Okay, now this is a thin layer. I thought maybe I could put this on top of this one. So I've got 3 flowers that look a little bit different, okay? So this is the thinner layer. So again, I'm going to use my tweezers and I'm going to turn it over, and again, I'm going to put some glue on here. I need a bit more glue. So hopefully my instructions for putting these flowers together work for you. It worked for me. And as I played with them, it got a little bit easier for lining up. Okay, so again, on the thinner layer now, I'm basically looking, now I want you to notice on here, you see how there's a little piece that sticks up here? Can you see that? Little tiny piece here, and there's a little tiny piece on here, and there is your square chunk. Okay, so you're going to line up your square chunk, and then you might see I'm going to twist it around. Okay, like that, until that piece fits on that end there. There we go. All right, so we have 3 kind of different roses here. I just wanted to do these to show you. And then we've got our little leaves here. So let's put the card together and see how it looks. I could throw some of these roses in as well, but I'd have to go and cut these out with the main piece. Let's get rid of my little, excuse me. Okay. So let's decide how we're going to arrange these roses. So I might have one here. One like, oh, this one's not glued in, glued on. Oh, I forgot this one. Sorry about that. I thought I had that one glued on. Well, let's get my tweezers again. Yeah, so there's my back. Okay. So again, I've got my round bits, top and bottom, and my little square bit here. And I'm going to twist it. Oh, I didn't need to. Perfect. All right, there's that last rose. Luckily, our Tombow glue dries clear. Okay, so see, one rose here. Maybe one here. So I like to lay everything out to start with. And then one here. All right, let's see where we're going to put our leaves now. I may put all 3 of these roses up on a dimensional or on dimensionals, then I can scoot my leaves underneath. Now this Forever Friend is going to go as my piece at the bottom, so let me put a couple of dimensionals on here, because we want to pop this up so that the easel stands up behind it. Excuse me. So that was silly. All right, we're going to have to commit and just start with 1. So let's glue this one down flat. I'm sure any way I put these on, they're going to look great. I just feel positive about that. Now, I only put glue on the center, so I should be able to slide these underneath. Yes, when it comes time to do that. I'm going to put the other 2 on a dimensional. So again, I'm just going to put a dimensional in the center so that I can slide the leaves underneath. Okay. So let's do this one maybe here. And then let's do this one. I kind of want them all to overlap as if they're in a bouquet. Okay, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the ends of my leaves here, and I'm going to start tucking them underneath. So I'm going to put one here. Hold that down for a few seconds. Okay, and then we'll put we'll put one up here, like so. And then we'll put one let's put one down here just to fill in a bit more of that white space at the bottom. Okay, there we have. And then basically you're going to lift up your easel, and you decide, you know, how far up you want that easel to go. And then you're going to stick down your easel mechanism. So I'm going to put it about there. And there you have your card. Isn't that sweet? I think that turned out very, very pretty. I love the color combinations, and that's where the Designer Series paper helps you to pick out your colors, because they've done the work for you. So there you go. So I'm pretty excited about making some more cards on this. I'm going to kind of hunt through that catalog and see. Very often there's a few other images in there. I think there's one at the back that I did see. And so I might give that a try. So thank you so much for watching. If you like my video, please subscribe. And I'll have all of the measurements and cutting and scoring measurements in the blog post, and that will be linked below this video. So thank you once again. I really appreciate you following me. Bye for now.